Let me just, share a little bit in the context of manufacturing industry, because that's where I come from right now. I'm in the textiles sector for quite a bit of time now, and this is a typical manufacturing industry where there are lots of people employed. I think in textile and clothing is about uh, I think about 105 million people engaged in that sector, right? And across uh, the entire social economic strata. I mean, from almost like contract workers all the way up to the CXO. So it's a big spectrum, and a lot of people are engaged at different levels, self-employed, doing almost like daily wage earners. So that's the kind of industry that I'm want to talk about, and it's a very strange situation. I think Professor was mentioning that it's something unprecedented in terms of usual recessions are that the consumption sees a decline, and then supply is somehow trying to manage its existing capacities and build in economies, and trying to come out of that curve. Here it's almost like somebody just choked the consumption, right? I mean, one fine day, stop consuming. So in that sense, yes, we are hopeful that the moment the situation eases up, the consumption will come back. Uh, Depending on which product category, there would be a certain amount of stagger in terms of consumption. But most of the basic good consumptions will come back into play. So, clothing, food, eating out, all of those things are likely to come back to normalcy quicker. Yeah, probably somebody would still differ on larger capital expenses, buying homes or buying a car. Such kind of expenses might get deferred a little bit more, but more basic consumption should come into play quicker, and that's the good news. I mean, that kind of drives most of the economy in a country like India. So that's the context of being hopeful. I think textiles in that context remains hopeful that as soon as the lockdown is eased out, and possibly and realistically speaking, in a phased manner. Why I want to emphasize on this is because most of the manufacturing units, especially like in our context, is located in fairly interior locations of the state, which are not at all affected. I mean, those districts, there is not a single case. I mean, if I take my company's 4 units, none of these units are in any district which has got even a single case. So those are all good, in a way, self-quarantined locations which can resume economic activity. And we are hopeful that some of these state governments will take a progressive view on that, saying that they will selectively quarantine districts which are affected, but it will ease out on those areas which can operate and start contributing towards the economy. I mean, while we are all hopeful that things will change, we have to start acting on things which will make these change quicker and bring about that difference. So, in that context today, if we have a large number of contract workers who have unfortunately, been out of the job, and many have gone back to their villages, I will find that many manufacturing industries who employ large amounts of contract workers will have a problem to jumpstart their operation. Those people have gone back to their villages. They may or may not come back because season is going to start, which is usually a problem area for large manufacturing setups. So you're almost about coinciding in terms of these workers going back to villages and not coming back, and many of them have actually gone. So even if we wanted to kind of resume the production in full scale, I would visualize that there is going to be issues in terms of having labor force back in full capacity and action. So while the company would want them to be there, they might not be in a position to come back, given where they have traveled, whether transport is available to come back. I'm talking of very different kind of problems on the ground, for for factories and manufacturing setups, how they will try to revive their production in the coming months, and hopefully starting April 15th.
Of course.
Geographically speaking, yes, of course, I mean, the entire consumption is linked. So unless
Yeah.
somebody is buying a new shirt or or a or a garment, the garment manufacturer would not be interested in producing, and the entire chain is hence connected. But I'm saying, as a basic commodity, some of these items of consumption are likely to get revival sooner than some of the other ones.